Well, here we are again. I returned that bridge that was too big and got another one. Here it is. I had to spend a little more to get one that I could adjust to the size that I needed. I wound up getting the Hipshot Kick-Ass High Mass Bluegrass Sassafras and all of that other stuff. So let's take a look at it. Now, I will admit, I already opened this. And the way this thing works is just amazing. The string saddles can move side to side. There's a little bitty set screw there. You loosen that and you can move each one of them exactly where you want them. I've got these set right now to be approximately 17 millimeters apart, which is what I seem to need for this instrument. Setting them was the soul of simplicity. Now you might say, that's a kind of a tiny set screw. I don't have an Allen wrench that little. That's okay. They included one. So, we've got our 5 screws. This is a different mount than the one we had before. The one we had before was a 4 screw around the edge. This is 5 screws across. I don't care. If it works, I'll deal with it and make it pretty as I go along. The next step, of course, is to measure the scale length of the instrument and then figure out exactly where the saddles need to be. Our scale length on this is 24 3/4 inches. I measured this twice and this is the right spot according to my tape measure. If my tape measure is wrong, there's not much I can do about that. I suppose I could buy a new one, but I would have to know that it was wrong. And right at the moment, as far as I know, it's right. And I'm babbling, so let's get to this. I already measured it. I put this tape down for a number of reasons. One is to protect the finish and have it so I could mark on it and all of that stuff. But I'm going to leave some of it there just to insulate this from that bridge ground wire that I put in a way back when. Because as we found out, active pickups don't like a grounded bridge. Now, I bent the other end over, but there's always a chance something could touch in there. So if it's not going to anything, if this is insulated by the tape, then I don't have to worry. So there's that. Now the only question is I need to set it this way. And just this morning, I learned a wonderful trick for doing that. Let me show you what it is. I've put the high and low strings on, so I can stretch them out to the nut, lay them in there and hold them in place, and then just move the bridge back and forth until I find the right spot, which looks to me like, let's get square on our line here. Looks to me like the ideal spot is going to be right about there. So I'm going to mark the sides here. We are ready to fasten this thing down, just as soon as I get these strings out of the way. Alright, got it all laid out, marked the holes, and then I discovered one small problem. Not really a problem, but it modifies my plan slightly. That bridge ground wire is right there. Screw hole is right there. The two are going to touch each other. So there's not a whole lot I can do about that. And so I'm just going to try to push that out of the way as much as I can, maybe throw another little piece of tape over it, and do the best I can. So here we go. Let's make some pilot holes. Again, if my bit looks a little short, that's only because it is. It broke off a while back, and this is what's left of it. It's got a sharp enough point that it works, so I've just been tolerating it until I can get to the store and remember to get another one. That's the biggest issue. The issue isn't money or getting to the store or any of that stuff. It's just remembering I need one of these things. I suppose I could do something like write a note to myself, but that'd just be silly. And we already have a hole there. So I will unpack the screws, pull this tape off, and let's get this thing fastened down. Now, I have to admit, these screws look dinky to me, but I have yet to have a bad experience with Hipshot, so I'm choosing to trust them. Here we go. My hands are a little shaky today as usual. You may have noticed that. That's how you can tell I've had my coffee. So, here we go. Now, I have a couple of old holes here a couple of extraneous holes here from the old one, if I can catch my words, because they're trying to run away. But I will figure out how to deal with those once I know the instrument is working. That's my biggest concern right now. I want to make sure everything is working and that the instrument is playable. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? It's not about how it looks or anything. It's about playing the bloomin' thing. It's about making music with it. So, yeah, we spent a lot of time making it pretty. But our main goal for pretty is sound. So the goal is for this to make some pretty music. So my pretty wife can make some pretty music with it. All together now? Aww. So thing is, she isn't really susceptible to stuff like that, so that's not going to gain me anything. It's not going to get me any brownie points or anything like that, but I'm hoping this guitar will. Somebody asked me not long ago, how much money do you have into that thing now? I don't know. I don't care. Money isn't the point of it. I'm not building this to sell and make a profit or something like this. For me, the profit is going to be the smile on my wife's face as she plays it. So, how much money do I have into it? Enough to make it work. That's what I know, or at least that's what I hope. All right. As you can see, I've got the high G string already on there. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the low E on. There still seems to be some problem with the electrical, but I'm going to worry about that later. I know everything is hooked up. I tested everything, all the connections are solid, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But we will find out. So, now, you may remember that we had a problem with the other strings, which is to say, the string was too fat to go in here. Are these short scale strings any better? Yeah, look at that. Get a good run at it, and it looks like it's going to work. Okay. And one thing I have discovered real quick about this one, it's definitely going to require a string tree to hold it in place. And I don't seem to have one around this place. So quick as I get done here, I'll go buy a couple. Whew. These big fat strings are so much fun to work with. Sorry for the whistling. My voice teacher has me working on The Heat Is On. It's not a song I ever really thought about doing before, so I'm trying to get it cemented in my head. I may have left myself a little too much here. But, like a lot of things, my philosophy is that too much is better than not enough. As long as it doesn't make the tuning slip. That's my only concern. So, we're almost there. Yeah, now everything is rattling on the fingerboard because this truss rod hasn't been adjusted probably within my lifetime. So I'm just getting the strings on here. I'll get the string trees that I need for this. Then I will do what I always do at that point and take it to Ron for a complete setup. I'm going to go ahead. It looks, yeah, now you can see here that it looks like I may have gotten the bridge a little too far this way, but I think she can deal with that. So we will find out once it's better set up. And if I have to adjust this saddle a little bit more, I do have the room to do that. So if I have to move the whole thing, that'll be another matter. But hopefully it won't come to that. Next string. And I gotta say, stringing on this bridge is just as easy as any other. And any other string through. So I don't have any complaints so far about this bridge. As I said, I have yet to have a bad experience with Hipshot. And so, even though it cost a little more, I decided to go ahead and go with theirs for that reason. And it looks like there's a good chance I won't be disappointed. Of course, the reviews of this bridge just raved about it. But they were talking about tone and all of that stuff. Me? Yeah, I have another slightly different issue, but right at the moment, this bridge seems to be dealing with it admirably. So, this, I have a hunch, is going to be a problem. I think I may have done that wrong, but again, we'll get it in place and worry about making it pretty later. So, one to go. Look at that. The spacing even looks even almost. Okay, well, I can deal with that. Truthfully, I shouldn't need any more than that, and that may be a bit much. In fact, I think it is. I'm going to back that off just a little bit more. Try to go for a little more economy here. Truss rod's already beginning to adjust. You can feel it. All right, so because this truss rod has been neglected for so long, now I'm going to let it sit for about 5 days so that this whole thing can flex itself back into position and all of that good stuff. And then we will see about taking it in for a setup and finding out what's wrong with the electrics. So, we will be back.